Chris, whatever you set out to do, this is where you want to end up when the season starts. With all the twists and turns of the season, did you believe this team had the capability to end up here?
As we said when the season started, we wanted to have a great regular season. We wanted to do everything we could to get in the playoffs. Our mantra was, when you get in, anything can happen. We're certainly excited to be one of 4 teams left, and we're just going to keep grinding as best we can.
Chris, think about what you were able to accomplish before the deadline and bringing in the guys you did, Kopp, Tranel, Mott, Justin Braun. Have any of those guys opened your eyes enough to be like, whoa, we got to do what we can to keep this guy? Has it been that way, the way they played?
They've all contributed, as you know. I thought our scouts and our staff did a great job identifying those guys as targets, and we were fortunate enough to be able to pull off the deals to get them. There'll be plenty of time for that kind of thoughts or questions, after it's all over. But they've certainly all fit in well and been used extremely well by Turk, and we're certainly thrilled to have them all. I did come down after the game last night. I was going around seeing the players, and Copper looked up at me and said, "Sorry about your first." Which is no problem at all, as you know.
Left side.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Andrew, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Not too bad.
When you signed Barclay Goodrow, was there, some specifics, that you saw in him that you thought he would work perfectly with this group? And how much of it was the experience he's had the past 2 years with the Lightning?
Yeah, that for sure was a big piece of it. What he's gone through, what he went through in San Jose, winning the back-to-back cups with Tampa, just all our homework and about him on and off the ice, and what a character player he was, and the things he could do, not only in the playoffs but in the regular season to help create and build and keep a culture. He's done everything possible to do that.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Chris, what are you most proud of with this group?
Well, you guys see it everywhere, and I know our players say it, but there certainly has been no quit, throughout the season. You battle through different things up and down during the year, and you find different ways to win, and we certainly did that throughout the season. And both series to be able to come back, win some big games on the road, take care of stuff in our building, and a resilient bunch that really has had no quit from day one. Probably the second thing is just how close they are, and I think you guys can see it and feel it when you've been around our team all year. And as I said at the deadline, I think that started before training camp. You guys started to trickle in, and you guys started to meet each other and meet Turk and meet me, and it's just a very close knit group, which is exciting to see.
Of the hands up, anybody have one for Turk?
I can leave. Trust me. I deal with Colin enough.
When you think about getting to this point, you probably may have thought it's got to go through Tampa just because of what they've done the last few years. Was that something that had entered your mind at all?
Honestly, it hasn't. When we clinched the playoff spot probably 2 or 3 weeks ago before the season, that was a big goal of ours, obviously. And when the playoffs did start, there were 16 teams there that I thought, I looked at the Eastern Conference first, obviously, and I said, any one of these teams can win. I mean, there was 8 really good teams there, talented teams, and and you guys asked me many a times, who would you prefer to play? And I was honest in my answer and saying, it doesn't really matter who you play because there was 8 great teams there. So I think any team's capable of beating anybody at this level at this time, and that's what I see with the remaining 4 teams. They're all real good hockey teams, and I felt like that in the first day of the playoffs.
Back left.
Actually, for each of you have a team, most of the players have not gotten this far so far in their careers, but each of you have gotten through the finals, in Chris's case, even all the way to winning the cup. Is there anything from that experience that you can share with the team that you think will benefit them?
Well, I mean, I was fortunate enough to get there a few years ago with Vegas, and again, it was sort of an underdog type of team that nobody expected to get there, and we had a lot of fun. I mean, it's a long journey. We had a lot of fun. We battled hard every game. We had a great group of character players in that, so I look at this team and I say, we got obviously more skill than that Vegas team had, but we just play one game at a time, take it one game at a time, and we've had 5 elimination games so far, and the guys just go into those games playing the same way. They compete hard, they battle hard, and they want to keep going. So I compare the teams a little bit, but they're definitely different type of teams. We're a lot younger team now. We're a more skilled team than the Vegas team, but the Vegas team was a special team. It had veteran players, character guys, and they found their way to will. And unfortunately, we fell a little short, but it was a great experience for me, and to get that far in the playoffs as a coach.
Yeah, I think just take it, simply put, kind of one day at a time, one game at a time. I know Turk's been preaching that since game 1 of the Pittsburgh series. 8 o'clock tomorrow night, just be ready. Enjoy it and have fun, but just kind of don't get too high or too low, and enjoy the moment.
Back left.
Chris back here. In what ways have you seen the team evolve or change since game 1 against Pittsburgh to get to this point?
For me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think in the playoffs there's definitely a certain level of intensity and commitment to do things right all over the ice, and I think as our 14 games have gone on, we've, as a group, I think, started to understand how hard it is, how intense playoffs are. And as someone alluded to earlier, we didn't have a lot of players with a lot of playoff experience, and they certainly have shown they can play that way and can handle tight and intense situations.
On the right side.
Chris, you've experienced obviously with the Garden. It's like when it's electric at its ultimate high. How's it for you being on this side of the table?
Yeah, it's exciting. You guys probably all knew, but I didn't know the bridge shook. We used to sit in the corner, before I moved over to the bridge, and it's quite an experience, and to be able to sit up there and watch, and to see what Turk's game plan is before and how he executed, and to see the players from that vantage point. It's an honor to have this job, and it's been exciting to watch Turk and his players perform.
We'll take a few more. Back to Dan.
If I could get both of you guys to comment on this, because you played in the league at different times. You watch Jacob Trouba play the way he does now, some of the hits that he's putting, he lays on guys. It's got an old school mentality. It's got an old school feel to it. Do you agree? What do you think of that style that he's brought to your team?
Scott Stevens comes up for me all the time, because when you're on the ice, you have to keep your head up. And Jacob's a clean hockey player who plays a hard game, he plays a good, honest game, but he's an old school guy, and he comes to the rink every day, he's smiling on his face, and he's working hard, and he goes out there and does his job. Not trying to hurt people out there, he just plays a heavy game.
Yeah, I kind of think Adam Foote a little bit too, maybe just because they're both righties, but I think Turk said it right. He comes to play hard, he has a little bit of a throwback. There's really no nonsense to him day in and day out, practice day, game day. He just laces him up and comes to play, and he certainly enjoys the physical part of the game. We're glad we have him.
Back to Bruce.
Gerard, quick turnaround. How do you approach that, and does it favor either of these teams?
I've been on both scenarios before, and like you said, it's teams we played 14 games in 28 days, a day off between games every day, and I think our players like it. Right now we're getting healthier than we have been since the start of the playoffs, to be honest, and guys, you get ready for one game at a time. You don't practice anymore. You just get ready for the games, prepare for the game. So hopefully it's going to be good for us. They had a lot of I think it's 8 or 9 days they're going to have off. And again, I've had that in the past too, and it definitely helps you. You get some jump out of it, but also there's a little rust in your game too. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow night, but we'll be ready to go.
Last question, left side.
Turk, you don't see too many teams, or maybe any, with 2 defensemen like Edmund and McDonough who can heat up minutes, and kind of one of them always seems to be out there when they need him. How do you attack a team with guys like that on the back end?
Yeah, no, they're great players, and they got great experience, and they won Stanley Cups, but you know what? We're going to worry about playing our game. We've had good success against them in the regular season, which means nothing, but we're going to attack, we're going to play our game, and they got more than just those 2 defensemen, trust me, but I like our defensemen too. We've got the so-called Big Four, they got a Big Four, and it should be a great series.